regular meeting of the East Hartford Township Board of Supervisors for July 26, 2022. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Bill Gillespie, Deputy Chief, Historian PD.
Kelly Dahl, Township Engineer.
Jim Sullivan, Director of Engineering Services.
Dave Chris, Director of Finance.
Jeff Winterbottom, Assistant Manager.
Bob Hart, Township Manager.
Rebecca Geiser, the Solicitor's Office, and also tonight with me is Jim Gallagher with our office, who hails from nearby Morristown. So we'll be working with you.
Anybody else? Supervisor Dennis DeSanto.
Supervisor Ashley DePiro.
Supervisor Kevin McDevitt.
Vice Chairwoman Jamal Wender.
Chairman Joe Gabanis. The next item is not on the agenda, it was inadvertently left off, but we had a passing of note in the township on June 30th. One of our longtime township residents, community servant, Ralph Nealman, passed away at the age of 79. Just a brief background, if you didn't know Ralph or didn't have any contact with him, he served our country as a Marine in the Vietnam War. He served in the township here in many different capacities. He was president of the East North Girls Athletic Association, but he's been on numerous boards and committees. He was made an outstanding citizen of the year at one point, and his crowning achievement was he was a life member of the Norton Fire Engine Company, served 43 years on many committees, and had received Lifetime Achievement Awards. So I'd like to have a moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. Okay, I want to announce that the board, prior to this meeting, met in executive session to discuss matters of personnel and litigation. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of the last meeting? Are there any changes, corrections? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Supervisor DePiro. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizens to be heard. Anyone online, Mr. Chris?
There are no comments online.
Anyone here? Okay, we'll move on. Comments by the board? Anything? Okay. We have no old business, so we'll move on to new business. We have a presentation tonight by our township engineer, Kelly Goff, on the MS4 project.
Thank you, Chairman Cabanas. So I'll be giving a brief presentation about your MS4 program here in East Norton Township. This presentation will serve as education to the public as well as to the township staff. Education to the public and township staff is a requirement under the township's MS4 permit with the Department of Environmental Protection. Next slide, please. So what is stormwater runoff? Stormwater runoff is precipitation, which includes rain or snow melt that flows across the land. Some of the stormwater will infiltrate into the soil and some will evaporate. Some get discharged directly into your water bodies. Rain that falls off of a roof, a driveway, a patio, or a lawn will move across more quickly in comparison to a more natural environment. Next slide, please. So why can stormwater be a problem? Why does CEP require you to regulate your stormwater management system? I have listed a few reasons: flooding, pollution, stream bank erosion. So if the water is flowing through your tributary quickly, it'll erode the stream bank and carry with it sediment, which also is a pollution issue among the waterways of the Commonwealth. And as a result of the pollution, and there would be threats to human and animal health. Next slide, please. So I put together a few slides for residents to showing ways they can help stormwater management within the township. The first slide is rain gardens. Rain gardens manage stormwater and filter pollutants. Other benefits include wildlife habitat. They're considered to be little maintenance, and they add beauty to your yard. Items to consider when you're putting in a rain garden on your property is you want to construct it downslope of runoff to be captured. If you construct it at the top of the hill, it's not going to collect as much water, obviously. You want to consult your, wherever you're growing your plants to make sure you're planting in the right season. Some plants thrive better when they're getting planted in the spring, some thrive better when they're getting planted in the fall. And you also want to consider the location to make sure it's at least 10 feet from your building foundations. Next slide. So another way that residents can help is tree plantings. So the more trees you have, the more water gets absorbed and therefore or evaporated as well, because the leaves create a larger surface area for the water to evaporate. So basically less water is running off across your roads and then collecting pollutants along the way and going into your waterways. So trees, again, help filter pollutants. They provide a wildlife habitat. They provide aesthetic appeal to your property. Studies have found that tree plantings increase property values. Trees require little maintenance relatively. Again, you want to consult your local nursery on when it's best to plant a specific tree, whether it be in the spring or fall. And you also want to increase your watering during dry weather. Next slide, please. The next option residents can have is rain barrels. This is basically a barrel that you would put at the bottom of your downspout, as shown as that illustration. And you can harvest the water to use for whatever you would like to use it with. So this, again, less water runs off your roof and into your inlets, which gets discharged directly into your waterways. Things you want to consider when installing rain barrel is place it on a level surface. You also want to consider how much it will weigh when it's full. Don't plan to move it after you place it there. It's going to be difficult. Next slide, please. Your lawn care for residents. You want to maintain a dense vegetative cover of grass. If it's barren and it's just muddy, again, like I mentioned earlier, the sediment is a big pollution problem within the waterways of the Commonwealth. So the grass helps stabilize it. You want to reduce or eliminate your fertilizer. You want to retain your clippings. And you want to set your mower height at 3 inches or taller. Next slide, please. So as part of the MS4 program, the township has to maintain a standard operating procedure guide within the township for the Public Works building. So one of the requirements is to have this document on site at all times, required to have spill kits on site if there is a spill, and you want to capture it before it runs off into your inlets. Next slide, please. And there's a spill procedure outlined in the standard operating procedure. If there is a spill and you're unable to convey it away from your inlets, you have to also contact the appropriate authorities, which may be the DEP or the Conservation District. Next slide. And that concludes my report. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Kel, very informative. The pictures of the green lawns that were taken recently. We don't have any water runoff problems at this right now. But thank you for the presentation.
All right, we'll go to item B, authorization to advertise Pierce Road Basin Project. I would like to call on our township engineer, Kelly Goff, to review this item.
Thank you, Vice Chair Runder. This is This is a good segue from the MS4 presentation. So under your MS4 permit, you're required to implement various best management practices within the township that will help improve your water quality within the waterways of the Commonwealth. So under this, I would recommend the authorization of the Pierce Road Basin retrofit project. This is near Pierce Road in Truman. We'll be retrofitting the project to promote more infiltration, and you have a grant that will cover some of the costs of the project as well.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the authorization to advertise the Pierce Road Basin project. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Vice Chair Winder. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorization to advertise Park and Rec building. I'd like to call on our Director of Engineering Services, Jim Sullivan.
Thank you, Supervisor DeSanto. Earlier this year, you may recall, we took in bids for a 5,000 square foot Park and Rec building. At that time, the bids were, we only had one bid, it was ratified. It was determined that we wouldn't pursue this for at least a little while. Apparently that time has come, and we will not pursue this again. So we're looking for authorization to advertise. If you approve that, I'll advertise it before the end of this week. And we'll get a bid opening on August 18th, so we'll be ready for some kind of a recommendation at your next meeting. And I'm sure Mr. Hart would like to add something to that.
Thank you, James. Yeah, as you know, we discussed this in prior meetings. This will be, we initially thought about expanding our current building, but because of some of the infrastructure in the ground outside of the building, it made more sense to move it just a short, on the other side of our new playground. This will provide new meeting rooms. It's a smaller building in general. It's a lot of space, but it's going to be for all of our senior programs, camp, all those types of things will be able, and it'll all tie into our current system right behind us down at the park. So we're hoping for better prices, and we made some tweaks to it. As you know, when we first did this, just wood prices, lumber prices were through the roof. In that many months since we've done it, they've come significantly down, so we're hoping to get a much better, get our arms around this in a much better way to come back with a recommendation for you. So.
Okay, any questions, comments from the board? All right, hearing none, I will make a motion to authorize the advertisement of the Parks and Rec building. I guess renovations would be the weird,
New structure.
or a new structure.
Sorry, I was reading.
The authorization to advertise for the Parks and Rec building for our new building, not.
Yes,
renovation.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Just
I'll
want to
second.
clarify that. Second by Supervisor DeSanto. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2863, County Transportation Program Grant. I would like to call on Township Engineer, Ms. Goff, to review this resolution, please.
Thank you, Supervisor DiPiero. Under this resolution, I recommend that the township pursue the county transportation program grant. The grant will cover the cost for bridge rehabilitation of 3 local bridges within the township. The township already received a grant under the PennDOT multimodal fund, but the county will help provide funds for the match requirement as well as some of the escalating prices that we've seen in inflation lately. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Have we identified the bridges?
I'm sorry, I don't actually have them right in front of me.
I can help with that. We own 3 bridges. The township is being, we own 3 bridges, Sand Avenue, North City Avenue, and the other one.
It's okay.
And the third
I'll
one.
just drive around, I'll find one.
Yeah.
2 or 3 is out there.
Taylor Road.
Okay. If it comes to you, you can let us know. Any other comments or questions? Okay, and this is for the amount Ms. Goff, of $293,277.50. Just to be specific about it, okay? All right, so I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2863, which is the County Transportation Program Grant for $293,277.50 for the 3 bridges to be rehabilitated. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next item on the agenda, monthly expenditures, June 28th through July 25th. I'll call on our financial director to review this.
Thank you, Supervisor McDevitt. Presented to you tonight are the township expenditures for the month. More specifically, the expenditures from, of course, the date of the last board meeting to the day before this board meeting. Those expenditures for that period of time total $850,907.86. More specifically, the accounts payable expenditures, payments for utilities, supplies, services, etc., totaled $408,789.04. And our payroll expenditures, salaries, wages, taxes, totaled $442,118.82. Township staff is asking for the board's approval of these expenditures, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
All right, hearing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve the monthly expenditures for a total of $850,907.86. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Supervisor Piero. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Other business?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Woodland Avenue,
Woodland, okay, thank you.
Hannah Avenue, and North City Avenue are the 3 bridges that.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I knew you would come up with that.
Kelly's on
Thank you very much. Any other business we need to talk about? Okay. Manager's update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, now we're in the dog days for summer. As you can tell, there's a lot to do, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that are spreading out over the course of the next month. September 10th, we'll be here before you know it, which is our 43rd, maybe 42nd, depending on how we count them. The Community Day here. As you know, every year we try to do it a little better, a little bigger, and make a bigger splash for our residents. I think this year will be no different. We have some major surprises. I think I'll wait until the August meeting to announce it, but one of our attractions is something that I think we haven't seen around here at all, and I think everyone will be really excited to go on this attraction, and it will be the talk of the town, let me say that. We have everything as usual with our bands, our restaurant village. We really have gone above and beyond to make this a very special day. We know it's important for all of us, from board and staff, to give our residents a little bit of a break, a relief, to bring everybody come together and enjoy our time together, and basically end the summer in a celebrative way. So stay tuned for that. We'll hear a lot more in August about that. I also want to mention, I think we may have some people here about the dog park. We had some, that was brought up last week, last month. I have a little bit now. The more we delved into it, we realized there's so much. I don't know if some of you have looked into it, but there's much more than we even thought. The places that have dog parks, we requested information from them, and packets of rules and requirements and regulations and vaccinations and records and fees and decorum and rules of conduct. There is so much to go through. We are, I don't know, maybe if you have seen and looked at some of that, and liability concerns, so we are trying to process out much of that. We looked first to Whip Pain, and then we went around from up to the Lehigh County and around different places that have it, and they've all evolved over time, because I think most people started it as a dog park. great place to bring your dog and let let your dog enjoy other dogs and the dog owners and have that time together. And then they realized, oh, there's a little more to this. So we're a little surprised as the staff, the amount that's involved at different places. So we're trying to collate, combine all of that stuff and the most important things, because some of it is overkill, I have no doubt. But we're trying to bring stuff back to you in a presentation in a future meeting that kind of makes, do our due diligence, and at the same time, not bring in everything. Some people have, literally the rules that some townships and boroughs have put together. I thought to myself, I wouldn't bring my dog, there's too many rules and regulations. But, so I think there's a fine balance of what's important, what's necessary, and then what's just completely almost bonkers. So I'll have a lot more for you in the next meeting or two, and hopefully a presentation on here, and give you some examples of different areas that are doing it, what we feel we're doing it right, not doing it right. And I would say anyone out in the public, because we're going to put something on Facebook soon too, that if you have any thoughts or anything, share them at rhart@eastnortontwp.org or info@eastnortontwp.org. And then we'll probably end it all with some type of survey for residents to try to get some, because we've had feedback that, mostly positive. I mean, we can't imagine maybe one or two people that, but we haven't had a lot of negative feedback, but we haven't been able to give much information yet on it. So all I can say is right now, stay tuned. We'll have more information coming. And we'll see where it takes us from there once we have more and we get to discuss it as a group.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hart. Citizens to be heard. Anyone? Anyone online? No one online, okay. Well, we have an agenda item called review of upcoming meetings, but as was mentioned earlier by Mr. Hart, this is the dog days of summer. We have no upcoming meetings in August except for the Board of Supervisors next meeting, which is Tuesday, August 23rd, right here at 7 p.m. So everyone enjoy the rest of the summer, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Put that in form of a motion.
Motion to adjourn by Supervisor DeSanto. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion. Early night.
Seconded by Supervisor DePiero. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?